Tell me, are you still counting sheep at night? Or have you started counting enemies? Most people don't realize it, but life is never measured in hours or years. It is measured in the quiet tally of who controls and who is controlled. The weak count friends, the strong count betrayals, and the wolf counts only one thing: the signs that it is awakening. Niccolo Machiavelli once wrote, "It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both." Most people repeat this line without understanding it. They think it is cruel when in truth it is clarity. For love is fickle, fragile, and often false. But fear is stable, predictable, binding. Tonight we are not here to chase love. We are here to count fear. 15 signs, each one a fracture in your old self. Each one proof that you are dissolving into something colder, sharper, more ruthless. By the end, you will know whether you are still prey or whether you have begun your transformation into the wolf. You were taught that speaking up makes you strong, that if you don't voice your truth, you'll disappear. But here is the contradiction. The more you speak, the less your words weigh. The more you explain, the more you reveal. Weak men flood the air with noise. The powerful create silence. And in that silence, the world bends. Machiavelli believed that silence was sharper than any response. He knew that every word is a coin spent, and the prince who spends freely soon finds his treasury empty. Silence is your currency. It is your blade. Every time you withhold it, you carve fear into the minds of those around you. They begin to wonder what you are thinking. They begin to suspect you know more than you reveal, and suspicion is worth more than honesty. Think of it. When you respond instantly to every insult, every question, every demand, you are predictable. Predictability is a leash around your neck. The wolf is not predictable. The wolf does not howl at every passing sound in the forest. It saves its voice for the moment it wants the entire valley to listen. This is the first sign you are becoming the wolf. Your silence no longer feels like weakness, but like control. You resist the urge to fill the air. You let others bleed out their intentions with endless chatter. You notice how they reveal fears, betrayals, and secrets, all because they cannot endure the void of quiet. Your silence becomes the mirror that exposes them. To Machiavelli, truth was never sacred. It was useful only when it served power. And the silence you hold is truth in its purest form. It serves no one but you. In a world addicted to noise, withdrawal becomes a weapon. When they expect you to respond and you do not, they feel the sting of absence. When they try to provoke you and meet only calm restraint, they taste the bitterness of their own futility. Imagine the storm withheld, the clouds black, the thunder coiled, but the rain does not fall. People fear not what they see, but what they cannot predict. Silence is that storm, held in your hands, tightening the tension around those who try to draw you out. The wolf waits in shadows. It does not announce itself, does not waste breath on warning. It circles, it watches, it calculates. When the strike comes, it is clean and final. So too must you wield silence, not as absence, but as anticipation. Every withheld word is a reminder. You are not accessible, you are not owned, you are not theirs. Silence is not retreat, it is siege. It is the wall of the fortress Machiavelli spoke of, the cold stone that exhausts attackers until they collapse against it. Speak when it profits you, strike when it costs them most. But until then, remain still, remain unreadable. There is a saying, the loudest in the room is the weakest. The wolf knows this, the king knows this, the strategist knows this. Words are arrows, once loosed, they cannot be reclaimed. But silence is the unstrung bow. It terrifies because no one knows when the release will come, or if it already has. So you withdraw your tongue. You abandon the addiction to defend yourself. You refuse to dance when they demand performance. And in that refusal, you rise. Your silence makes you untouchable because silence cannot be twisted, cannot be betrayed, cannot be used against you. This is your first law of transformation. To cut deeper, speak less. To dominate, remain still. To rule, let silence do what words never could. Approval, the sweetest poison ever brewed. You were taught to seek it from childhood. The applause of parents, the validation of teachers, the nods of friends. Every smile, every like, every word of praise, a leash tightening around your throat. They told you approval meant you belonged, but belonging often means you are owned. Here lies the contradiction. The more you chase approval, the weaker you become. The more you perform for others, the further you drift from yourself. And slowly, without even noticing, you build a mask. A smiling mask, a polite mask, a mask stitched together with the thread of other people's expectations. Behind it, your face suffocates. Behind it, your power withers. Machiavelli would never call that strength. He would call it dependence. He understood that the one who needs applause is already enslaved to the crowd. The ruler who craves love has already surrendered his crown. Approval is not nourishment, it is addiction. And addicts are always controlled by their suppliers. This is the second sign you are becoming the wolf. You begin to shed that mask. You stop performing, stop bending, stop begging for validation. Your worth is no longer tied to the trembling hands of others. You stand in shadow, stripped of decoration, your face unpainted. And though the world recoils at your refusal to play, the part you feel the surge of freedom in your veins. Consider the stage. The actors who dance under the spotlight glow brightly, but only because the audience grants them their moment. Remove the crowd, and they vanish into darkness. But the sovereign, the strategist, the wolf, they do not need a stage. Their presence casts its own light. Their silence gathers its own gravity. Their worth is not granted, it is declared. Machiavelli believed that men obey not because they are convinced, but because they are compelled. Approval convinces. Power compels. The wolf does not ask the sheep for permission to hunt. It hunts because it must. It hunts because it can. When you shed the mask of approval, you discover something unsettling. People who once praised you will turn against you. They cannot stand the one who no longer needs them. Your withdrawal exposes their control, and they will call it arrogance. They will call it selfishness. They will call it cruelty. And yet, beneath their anger lies fear. Fear that they cannot bind you any longer. Do not mistake their disapproval for failure. It is proof of transformation. For every mask you burn, a layer of sovereignty is revealed. Every smile you withhold, every nod you deny, every performance you abandon, it is another chain broken. They will rage, but they will watch. They will despise, but they will remember. Approval is fragile. It crumbles as soon as you refuse to chase it. But power is solid, like iron. When you carry yourself without needing their applause, the world recalibrates. They may never say it aloud, but they sense it. You are no longer their equal. You are their measure. You are the standard they are, forced to compare themselves against. This is the paradox of withdrawal. The less you seek approval, the more magnetic you become. People cannot resist what is withheld. They crave what does not bend for them. And soon the same crowd that once demanded your performance will whisper your name in your absence, not out of love, but out of recognition. The wolf wears no mask. It does not smile for the herd. It does not pretend to be harmless. Its truth is its teeth, and its presence is its power. Those who cannot endure that truth are never worth serving. And those who can, those rare few, will follow you without the need for performance. To shed the mask is to step into the cold, to walk alone, to endure the sting of rejection without flinching. But it is also to step into sovereignty, to reclaim the self that approval buried. Approval binds, rejection frees. Remember this principle: the one who seeks approval kneels. The one who rejects it rules. They will tell you anger is strength. They will tell you that to roar, to lash out, to strike in fury proves you are powerful. But this is the first great lie. Anger exposed is never dominance. It is exposure. A man who cannot control his fire is not feared, he is pitied. For the one who burns without thought is not the ruler of the fire, he is its servant. Machiavelli believed a ruler must appear calm while holding the storm within. A prince who rages at every insult, who lashes at every slight, destroys his own image. The strong do not need to display their fire. They keep it sealed, hidden, burning silently in the core until the moment it can be used with precision. This is the third sign you are becoming the wolf. Your fury no longer spills out like wine knocked from the table. It hardens. It condenses. It is stored. You stop wasting your fire on petty arguments, trivial insults, the chatter of the envious. You begin to see that those who provoke you are seeking control over you. They want to steer your flame, to make you dance in their smoke, and you deny them. You let their words fall dead in the silence between you, while your fire waits, unseen. Picture a volcano, dormant, quiet, its slopes covered in green. To the naive, it looks harmless. But beneath the soil, fire coils, pressure builds, molten rivers churn. One day it will erupt, and when it does, entire landscapes will change. That is your power, not in sparks wasted daily, but in the eruption that comes at the moment of your choosing. The wolf does not snarl at every rustling leaf. It does not snap at shadows. It saves its bite for the jugular. To bare your teeth too often is to dull their effect. To strike constantly is to lose precision, but to hold back, to calculate, to wait, that is terror. That is the kind of fire Machiavelli understood. Not reckless flame, but directed inferno. And here lies the paradox. When you stop wasting your fire, people feel it more. Your silence after insult terrifies more than your words ever could. Your calm in the face of provocation unsettles them more than rage. For silence is not emptiness, it is a promise. It says, I heard you, I chose not to answer. And when I answer, it will not be with words. This is restraint not as weakness, but as war. Fire is most dangerous when hidden. For what is seen can be prepared against, but what is concealed cannot be defended. When they cannot read you, when they cannot predict you, when they cannot provoke you, they begin to fear the unseen fire you carry. Machiavelli wrote that fear is stronger than love, because love is voluntary but fear is constant. Your hidden fire makes you constant. They cannot rest easy because they know your silence is not peace, it is patience. And yet, restraint is not repression. Do not kill the fire within you. Do not bury it so deep it fades. Guard it, refine it, stalk with it. Let it warm you in solitude, let it guide you in strategy, but never hand it away in blind reaction. To waste fire is to serve others. To hold fire is to master yourself. Imagine the king on his throne, faced with insult. He does not leap. He does not shout. He watches, he notes, he waits. And when the punishment falls, it is not loud, it is final. That is your model. Fire that is not displayed but reserved. Not scattered but aimed. Not wasted but decisive. The world will test you. They will prod, provoke, and hope to see you lose control. They will mistake calm for softness. Let them. They will never see the fire until it consumes them. This is your third law of transformation. Do not waste fire on noise. Store it. Guard it. Strike once, strike clean, and let silence carry the rest. People speak endlessly. They fill rooms with noise, flood conversations with promises, lies, and half-truths. Most of the world listens to words. They treat words as truth, as if language itself were solid ground. But here is the first lesson. Words are the weakest currency. They are too easily forged, too cheaply spent, too quickly discarded. The strong do not listen to what is said. They watch what is shown. They read what is hidden. Machiavelli understood this. To him, truth was useful only when it served power. Otherwise, it was decoration. He warned that men say what they believe others want to hear, but act always in pursuit of their own advantage. If you take words at face value, you walk blindfolded through a field of traps. If you read faces, gestures, silences, you walk with sight. This is the fourth sign you are becoming the wolf. You no longer hear merely what people say. You see what they mean. You notice the shift of eyes, the hesitation before agreement, the forced laugh that hides resentment. You measure the pace of their breathing, the way their shoulders move when they lie, the flicker of fear when your silence lingers too long. Where others are deafened by language, you begin to hear the hidden script. Consider the court of a king. His advisors praise him, promise loyalty, swear obedience, but their eyes betray calculation. Their posture reveals ambition. Their silences reveal contempt. A ruler who listens to words alone is blind. A ruler who reads faces rules. The wolf knows this instinctively. It does not listen to the bleating of sheep. It reads the flock, their movements, their fear, their direction. It reads the forest, the shifting winds, the trembling leaves, the silence before danger. So must you learn to read the world. Do not be distracted by chatter. Noise is a mask. Silence is revelation. You begin to see that every smile is a mask, every gesture a shield, and you understand the power of watching more than speaking. When you listen less and observe more, people expose themselves to you. They reveal their weakness without knowing it. They betray their intentions before acting. Machiavelli wrote that men are ungrateful, fickle, liars by nature. He did not write this to condemn them, but to prepare you. If you expect honesty, you will be disarmed. If you expect deception, you will be ready. Reading faces means expecting nothing and noticing everything. Picture two armies before battle. One commander listens to the speeches of his enemy, the boasts of strength, the declarations of courage. The other commander ignores the noise and watches the ground, the shaking hands of soldiers, the broken formation, the uneven breathing of horses. Which commander wins? Not the one who listened, but the one who observed. This is the art of the wolf, not to howl louder, but to hear deeper, to read the tremor behind the smile, to see the storm gathering in another's silence, to sense betrayal before the blade is drawn. And once you begin to read, you also begin to manipulate. For when you see how others reveal themselves, you learn how to conceal yourself. You wear stillness like armor. You let others talk themselves into ruin while you remain unreadable. You let them chase the comfort of their own words while you count the cracks in their faces. This is the shift, from believing to perceiving, from trusting to testing, from listening to reading. The wolf who knows the forest does not fear the hunter. The ruler who knows the hearts of men does not fear betrayal. So here is the principle. Never believe words. Believe patterns. Believe silences. Believe the face that trembles beneath the mask. They taught you that to be alone is to be broken, that solitude is loneliness, that distance means weakness. They told you that the one who stands apart will collapse, while the one who clings to the crowd will thrive. But look closely at the world and you will see the opposite. Those who cling are devoured. Those who stand apart endure. Machiavelli warned that allies can betray, that friends can turn, that loyalty is as fragile as glass. He wrote that fortresses protect rulers more than companions ever could. Yet most people build their lives not as fortresses, but as open marketplaces. Anyone may enter, anyone may leave, and eventually anyone may burn them down. This is the fifth sign you are becoming the wolf. You begin to embrace isolation, not as punishment, but as protection. You discover that being alone is not emptiness, it is strategy. You see that the silence of your own company is more nourishing than the noise of shallow crowds. The wolf walks alone before it joins the pack. It learns the forest by itself, learns hunger by itself, learns strength by itself. Only then can it return to lead. You are entering that same season, a season where solitude hardens you, where your fortress rises not from stone but from distance. Understand this. When you are always surrounded, you are always vulnerable. Every companion is a door, every friend a potential spy, every lover a risk of betrayal. To depend constantly on others is to scatter your strength into too many hands. But when you pull back, when you seal your gates, when you ration who is allowed inside, you reclaim yourself. Isolation is not silence, it is sharpening. It is the whetstone against which you grind your mind. It is the chamber where you rehearse patience. It is the mountain that teaches you to stand when no one claps, to breathe when no one listens, to rule without witnesses. Machiavelli would remind you, men will betray when it serves their interest. That is their nature. If you build your kingdom on their loyalty, your walls will crumble. But if you build your fortress on your own discipline, your gates will never fall. Picture a castle on a hill, alone, unreachable, its walls high, its drawbridge raised. Those below gossip, rage, speculate, but they cannot touch it. That is what your isolation becomes. A fortress, not of stone, but of silence. Every refusal to attend their distractions adds another wall. Every rejection of shallow company adds another tower. And soon, you look down from a position they cannot breach. Do not confuse this with exile. Isolation is not running from the world. It is mastering your position in it. You choose when to descend. You choose when to open the gates. You choose who is worthy of entry. That choice is power. Dependence is slavery. The wolf does not always walk with the pack. Sometimes it vanishes into the trees, leaving even its own kind unsettled. In its absence, its legend grows. So too will yours. Withdrawal creates gravity. Your absence weighs heavier than your presence ever did. Those who once dismissed you begin to wonder. Those who once mocked you begin to whisper. For nothing terrifies people more than the one who no longer needs them. You will feel the sting of this. The crowd will accuse you of arrogance, selfishness, coldness. They will tell you you've changed, and they will be right. You have. You no longer serve their noise. You no longer validate their illusions. You no longer beg for entry into circles that only weakened you. This is the fortress law. Every step you take back from dependency, you build another wall around your sovereignty. Every night you spend in silence, you sharpen your mind like a blade in the dark. And when the time comes to emerge, you are no longer fragile, you are fortified. So embrace the solitude. Do not resist the withdrawal. When you are alone, you are not abandoned, you are armed. When you are isolated, you are not weaker, you are untouchable. This is your fifth law of transformation. Fortresses are not built of stone, they are built of distance. The wolf who stands alone does not fall. It waits, it endures, and when it returns, it rules. Most people live their lives begging for affection. They adjust their words to be liked, their actions to be approved, their faces to be welcomed. They believe love will protect them. They believe kindness will shield them. But the truth is cruel. Love fades, loyalty bends, and affection turns as easily as the wind. What endures is not love, it is fear. Machiavelli understood this better than anyone. He wrote, "It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both." Not because love has no use, but because love is unreliable. Love is voluntary. Love is fragile. And men, being fickle by nature, withdraw their love the moment it costs them to keep it. But fear binds. Fear compels. Fear endures even when affection dies. This is the sixth sign you are becoming the wolf. You stop trading in the cheap currency of love, and you begin to invest in the enduring currency of fear. Not fear as rage, not fear as chaos, but fear as stability. Fear that says, you cannot cross me without consequence. Fear that says, my silence is not weakness, my withdrawal is not surrender, my patience is not forgiveness. Look at the world as it truly is. The kind man is often betrayed. The generous man is often used. The loyal man is often discarded. But the feared man is remembered, obeyed, respected even by his enemies. They may not love him, but they calculate carefully before touching what is his. Fear is not loud. Fear is quiet. It does not come from constant threats or endless displays of power. That is the mistake of tyrants. They mistake noise for dominance. Real fear comes from restraint, from the cold edge of inevitability. When they know you do not react to every slight, but when you do act, it is final. They fear you, the wolf, teaches this lesson. The sheep do not admire the wolf, they do not love the wolf, but they scatter the moment it appears. The wolf does not need affection from its prey. It does not beg for acceptance. Its very presence shifts the air. That is what fear does. It rearranges the atmosphere. It rewrites the rules of the room. Machiavelli wrote that love is held by a chain of obligation, while fear is held by the dread of punishment. One breaks easily, the other rarely breaks at all. When you cultivate the aura of consequence, people move carefully around you. They measure their words. They doubt their betrayals. And even when they smile at you, somewhere in their hearts, they hesitate. That hesitation is power. Fear does not mean cruelty. It means certainty. It means you are not easily swayed, not easily manipulated, not easily broken. To be feared is to be unreadable, untouchable, untamed. Love can be shared by many, but fear belongs only to the one who commands it. This is where your transformation deepens. You no longer waste time convincing people to like you. You do not chase affection. You no longer lower your crown to be seen as relatable. Instead, you cultivate the coldness of presence, the silence of consequence. And soon, people begin to treat you differently. They may not tell you they respect you, but they will not interrupt you. They may not call you their friend, but they will hesitate before calling you their enemy. The feared are often misunderstood. They are called arrogant, cruel, detached. But Machiavelli would say, to be misunderstood is safer than to be disarmed. If love disarms, fear arms. Fear keeps the walls strong, the enemies cautious, the allies honest. Consider a ruler beloved by his people. When times are easy, they praise him. But when hunger strikes, when war comes, when sacrifice is demanded, those same people turn against him. They abandon him because their love was conditional. Now consider a ruler feared by his people. Even in famine, even in war, even in suffering, they obey. They may grumble, they may complain, but they comply. Fear ensures stability when love collapses. The wolf does not need applause. It does not need affection. It commands space by its nature, not by its smile. And you, by stepping away from the fragile trade of approval, begin to command that same space. Let others chase love. Let them drown in its volatility. You will deal in fear, the currency that does not expire, the weight that does not fade. Not fear through shouting, not fear through chaos, but fear through the quiet clarity of consequence. This is your sixth law of transformation. To be loved is to be fragile. To be feared is to be unshakable. Love fades with the seasons. Fear endures beyond them. Most people believe power is proven by constant presence. They think dominance means always being in the room, always speaking, always moving, always visible. But visibility is vulnerability. The more they see you, the more they measure you. The more you explain yourself, the more they interpret you. And the more you are available, the more they believe you are theirs. Machiavelli knew better. He wrote that sudden absence unsettles allies and confuses enemies. A ruler who withdraws strategically creates uncertainty. He teaches that presence must be rationed and absence must be calculated. For presence creates familiarity, but absence creates weight. This is the seventh sign you are becoming the wolf. You have begun to master the art of withdrawal. You no longer chase rooms, chase conversations, chase attention. You understand that your power increases when you step away. That your silence speaks louder than your explanations, that your absence creates more fear than your presence ever could. Think of the flame. While it burns in the center of the room, all eyes turn toward it. But soon the fire becomes familiar. The crowd begins to speak over it, take it for granted, even mock its flicker. But the moment the flame dies, darkness consumes the room. People stop. They stumble. They miss the light they once dismissed. Your withdrawal is that extinguished flame. They will only feel your gravity once it is gone. The wolf teaches the same lesson. It does not follow the herd. It vanishes into the trees. Its disappearance creates unease. The sheep know it is out there, somewhere, watching. Its absence is not emptiness. It is pressure. It is tension. It is the fear of the unseen. When you withdraw, you do not disappear out of weakness. You retreat with calculation. You leave conversations without warning. You step back from relationships without explanation. You walk away from battles not worth fighting. And in that absence, you create silence that weighs heavier than words. They wonder where you went. They wonder why you left. They wonder if they have lost something. Machiavelli believed men are drawn not to what is common, but to what is rare. Presence makes you common. Withdrawal makes you rare. When you ration yourself, your value multiplies. When you vanish, your legend grows. They begin to speak of you even when you are not there. They begin to miss you even if they never admitted they valued you. This is the power of absence. It bends the room even after you leave it. Your shadow remains where your body is gone. Your silence echoes louder than your voice. And soon, you become less a person in their mind and more an idea. An idea they cannot touch, cannot control, cannot dismiss. But withdrawal is also war. It denies them the comfort of knowing where you stand. It robs them of the satisfaction of your reaction. It forces them to wrestle with themselves in the dark. And as they struggle, your power grows. For absence is not emptiness. Absence is a blade hidden under the cloak, unseen but always felt. The art of withdrawal demands discipline. The weak rush back when they feel missed. The desperate explain their silence, but you hold. You endure the discomfort. You resist the urge to prove yourself. And by doing so, you turn absence into command. Consider the king who appears daily before his people. Soon they treat him as ordinary. His crown loses shine. His words lose weight. But the king who appears rarely, only when it matters, commands reverence. His presence becomes ceremony. His silence becomes scripture. The wolf waits in shadow until the moment of strike. The ruler waits in silence until the moment of decree. You too must wait, withdraw, return only when it costs them to have ignored you. This is your seventh law of transformation. Withdraw to multiply your presence, vanish to sharpen your gravity, retreat not as surrender, but as strategy. The world wants to see you bleed. They want cracks in your armor, tremors in your voice, a fracture in your will. Because once they see weakness, they know how to touch it, how to press it, how to use it. This is the cruelty of human nature. People are rarely satisfied with your victories, but they are endlessly entertained by your pain. Machiavelli understood this perfectly. He wrote that men are governed by appearances, not truth. He warned rulers never to show their doubts, never to reveal their fears, for people obey what they see, not what is hidden beneath. If you bleed in public, you hand them the map to your destruction. But if you wear iron, if you wear stillness, if you wear control, they are forced to submit to the image, whether or not it is real. This is the eighth sign you are becoming the wolf. You begin to build the mask of iron. You learn to conceal your wounds, to guard your emotions, to show only what strengthens your image. You may feel the fire raging inside you, the fractures beneath the surface, the weight pressing against your chest, but none of it leaks into the world. To them, you are steel. To them, you are untouchable. The wolf teaches this silently. When it limps, it hides in shadow. When it is cut, it licks its wounds alone. To show pain before prey is to invite challenge. To reveal weakness before rivals is to invite death. So the wolf conceals. It returns when healed. It shows no sign of fracture. And in this concealment, it remains feared. You must learn the same discipline. The world does not need to see your tears. It does not need to hear your complaints. It does not need to be given your vulnerability as an offering. Keep your softness for your solitude. Keep your pain for the silence of your fortress. In public, in battle, in presence, you wear the mask of iron. Machiavelli would never call this deception, he would call it survival. For appearance is not illusion, it is weapon. The man who looks unshakable becomes unshakable in the eyes of others. The one who appears cold becomes difficult to test. The one who seems in control bends the will of the room. Whether or not it is true is irrelevant. For in strategy, perception is truth. This does not mean you deny your humanity. It means you protect it. You do not hand it cheaply to those who would turn it against you. You do not bleed before those who secretly wish to see you fall. You learn to choose who has earned the right to see behind the mask, and most will never be given that privilege. Think of the statue standing in the storm. Rain lashes against it, winds howl, lightning strikes nearby. Yet the statue does not flinch, does not bow, does not tremble. People see it and believe it to be eternal, invincible, unbroken. That is the mask of iron. To be still when chaos surrounds you. To show calm when your blood races. To carry silence when your enemies demand an outburst. The weak believe honesty means exposure. They wear their pain for the world to see and then wonder why the world uses it against them. The strong know honesty is selective. You give truth when it strengthens you, and you hide truth when it weakens you. Machiavelli would say, "Never reveal what others can use to destroy you." This mask is not cowardice, it is sovereignty. It says, "You do not own me, you cannot reach me, you cannot define me by my wounds." And soon those around you begin to believe the mask more than they believe their own doubts. They begin to treat you as if you cannot be broken, and in their belief lies your power. This is your 8th law of transformation. Never bleed before the crowd. Conceal your wounds. Guard your face. For in the mask of iron lies the weight of the crown, the silence of the wolf, the power of survival. Instinct feels powerful. To lash out in anger, to grab opportunity recklessly, to leap without calculation. It feels alive, fiery, unstoppable. But instinct without strategy is suicide dressed as courage. It burns quickly, blinds easily, and dies without victory. What feels like strength in the moment often becomes regret in the aftermath. Machiavelli saw this clearly. He wrote that fortune favors the strategist, not the gambler. He understood that those who trust instinct alone may win a battle, but will lose the war. For instinct is reaction. Strategy is design. Instinct sees the surface. Strategy sees the map beneath it. This is the 9th sign you are becoming the wolf. You begin to shift from emotional reaction to cold calculation. You do not rush to answer. You do not strike at every provocation. You pause, you study. You count the moves not yet made. And in that pause lies your dominance. For the world worships speed, but power belongs to the one who controls the pace. The wolf does not charge blindly into the herd. It circles first, it watches, it tests the edges looking for weakness. It learns which prey tires quickly, which lags behind, which can be isolated. Only then does it strike, and when it does, the strike is final. That is strategy. Movement only when the outcome is certain. Most people live like gamblers. They bet on emotion. They throw their energy into every opportunity, every distraction, every relationship, every battle. And when they lose, they call it fate. But you are learning to play differently. You are no gambler. You are a tactician. You weigh cost before action. You measure risk before sacrifice. You know that sometimes the greatest move is not to act at all. Machiavelli would remind you, appearances can be manipulated, words can be twisted, but results cannot be denied. Strategy is not about being seen as clever. It is about ensuring you win before the game begins. The battle decided before the first sword is drawn. That is real mastery. Imagine the chessboard in shadow. Pieces scattered, opponents eager to move. The impatient rush forward, sacrificing pawns, exposing their king. The strategist waits. He lets them exhaust themselves. He hides his intent behind stillness. And when he moves, the entire board shifts. One motion, decisive, inevitable. That is how you must move. Strategy requires detachment. You cannot be swayed by insult, flattery, or impulse. You must rise above the noise, see the landscape from above, not from within. Where instinct reacts, strategy commands. Where instinct burns, Strategy endures. Where instinct collapses, strategy survives. The cold hand of strategy is terrifying because it cannot be provoked. Enemies cannot draw you into traps because you refuse to move without reason. They cannot predict you because you do not follow instinct. They cannot defeat you because you fight only the battles you have already won. The wolf waits in silence. The ruler waits in calculation. And you are learning to wait. To be unreadable, untouchable, patient. To let others reveal their weakness while you conceal your strength. This is not hesitation, it is design. This is not cowardice, it is command. The weak believe power is speed. The wise know power is timing. The strike delivered too soon is wasted. The strike delivered too late is missed. The strike delivered at the exact moment of collapse. That is victory. That is how kings hold thrones. That is how wolves rule forests. This is your 9th law of transformation. Do not burn in impulse, freeze in strategy. Move only when the outcome is certain. Strike only when retreat is impossible. For power is not instinct, it is precision. You have counted the signs. You have walked through silence, masks, storms, and fire. And now you stand at the edge of yourself, no longer prey, not yet fully predator. This is the threshold where most people turn back. They long for comfort, for approval, for softness. They want to be loved, forgiven, understood. But you did not come here for that. You came here for clarity, for strength, for the wolf's crown. Machiavelli wrote that love is a gift, but fear is insurance. The world offers you gifts only to later reclaim them. But insurance, you hold that forever. That is what these transformations have been teaching you. Not how to be adored, but how to be untouchable. Not how to be understood, but how to be obeyed. Do not mistake this path for loneliness. It is solitude. Do not mistake silence for emptiness. It is pressure. Do not mistake withdrawal for weakness. It is command. The wolf does not walk among sheep because it feels alone. It walks apart because it knows it is different. Now you must choose. Will you remain what you were? Familiar, predictable, forgettable? Or will you step into this sharper shape, the colder self that bends respect without asking for it, that multiplies value by absence, that wins wars before drawing the blade? Machiavelli would say, the time to act is when they least expect it. And perhaps the greatest action of all is to withhold, to retreat, to recast, to return only when the field belongs to you. So leave them. Let them guess. Let them wonder where you went. Let silence become your signature, absence your weapon, and control your legacy. The wolf does not explain. The wolf does not beg. The wolf simply exists, and in its existence the forest bends. Now you know the truth. Becoming the wolf is not about what you do, it is about what you no longer allow. Withdraw, harden, command. That is the game now.